Men and women all over the globe are joining now for the best videos on the internet.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
And I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you? Click the subscribe button now to become a member of the Action Pack. Would you like to know more?
Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Mike and with me today is...
Tommy Boy.
It's great to have you with us. Thank you for being here. We have a question for you today in the audience. Do you need to chill? Because if you like Ghostbusters, we may have just found the perfect way to do that. This is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the After Action Review for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. The Action Pack needs you. You can support Mike's After Action Reviews on our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Every quarter, once we've made at least $200, we're going to be giving away 10% of our earnings from Patreon in a giveaway over on our Twitch, so go check that out as well. You can find all of the links for everything in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Do your part. Support the pack. The Action Pack. All right, guys. So as always, we have. I have my notes that are going to keep me on track. I have my guest looking beautiful as always, and you guys are going to be seeing. So we have the review image. That's what I call this image when I save it. The review. I'll put it like Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review image down there. And you guys will be seeing like some trailers and characters and stuff over here. So we are going to start. Oh, and right now, just so you guys know, we see the review image, but only a black square over here because I still have to edit the trailers into B-roll. So, yeah, starting with the movie's production. So we have 3 production companies. And, you know, Tommy Boy, as you know, if you have anything to say about anything while I'm moving on, please do interrupt me. And, for the audience, I've been saying this more now. I know that this might be dragging on now because people who've already seen the videos, but I'm saying this more because as Mike's After Action Reviews grows, I want to make sure that people understand why we do production. We do production so you guys can get an idea of, like, if you haven't seen the movie yet, you can kind of get an idea of, you know, who made the movie, to let you know if you are going to be, you know, if it's something that you might be interested in. Also, if you've already seen the movie, then you can look back at what these people have done in the past and kind of know if they kind of like shot above their grade this time, you know, like if they've done better than they usually do in the past, or if this was like a miss for somebody who usually does pretty good with stuff. So, starting off, first production company as listed on IMDb. Everything is from IMDb. If there's any issues with anything or you disagree, go take it up with them. So, top build is Columbia Pictures, who's most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. So that's what they're most well known for. They also most recently did Anaconda in 2024. Did you hear about this? So do you remember Anaconda, the old Anaconda movie?
I did see a trailer that they were going to make another one. Yeah.
Yeah, so they remade it in 2024, earlier this year, and it's not getting released in the United States. There's no release date for the United States. Yep. So it's an Asian movie. It's made in China, I think. And I just did like a real quick Google search because I was like, Anaconda, like what is this? So no release date planned for the United States. I don't know if that means that it's good or bad. I haven't seen that before. Yeah, well, I've seen it with I've heard of one other movie, and I don't know if that movie was good or not, but it had Anne Hathaway in it. But the Anaconda movie here has no big name actors, at least in America. So I don't know what to think about that, but that's what they've most recently did. Then you have Braun Studios, most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife in 2021, and then most recently did The Idol in 2023. Now, The Idol was the movie with Johnny Depp's daughter, and its most famous thing about it is that it's just super, super sexualized. Like her character, my understanding is that the premise of the movie is basically about how the movie industry, the Hollywood industry, like modeling and everything, kind of abuses these people who come into it, whether that be physical abuse, sexual abuse, manipulation, stuff like that. But this girl, she doesn't get like raped or anything, but she basically, it's one of those things where she just starts having sex with a bunch of people to get jobs and things like that, is my understanding. Yeah. And it's like very, very explicit. It's basically like a softcore porno. And so, like we talked about, was it you and I were talking about Emma Roberts, that Emma Roberts movie where she's actually like a 2-year-old girl put into a full woman's body, and the whole movie is okay. So it's like that. It's like one of those types of movies where it's people will watch it for a certain reason, Anyway, so that is their most. I'm not so familiar like with them with the name Braun, like right off the bat. Like they might be some big name production studio, but I'm not like super, super familiar with them. I mean, another one that they did was The Joker, which I saw, but I haven't seen anything else. Just as I Google them, put them into Google real quick. I haven't seen anything else with them. But anyway, so they made this movie.
They made the Green Knight.
I didn't like The Green Knight by them either. Yeah, it's kind of pretentious. Anyway, so they. Okay, so then we've got Ghost Corps as listed as the last. Now, Ghost Corps is involved with everything Ghostbusters because they are the Ghostbusters production studio. So they're most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. Now, they were involved in Stranger Things, which is a series, and they were in 3 episodes. They did 3 episodes from 2017. I think that was the second season? Yeah, that was the second season, I think. So, Ghost Corps, I like Ghostbusters. I like the original movies. I like some of the other stuff they've done. They were involved in the 2016, but we don't talk about Ghostbusters 2016. So, except for Tommy. Tommy loved Ghostbusters 2016. So please, audience, feel free to leave a comment about Tommy's feelings on Ghostbusters 2016 in the comment section down below. Anyway, okay, so yeah, any thoughts on anything else? Like you said, Braun Studios did The Green Knight. They've done some other things that are a little bit, just we're not interested in that. Any other thoughts on the production companies? No. I mean, Columbia Pictures and Ghost Corps, I mean, that's nice. That's okay.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Just Braun Studios, I'm like, I don't really like them. But that doesn't, I'm not saying that tarnishes my feelings about the movie. I've already seen the movie, so.
Yeah. They got quite a few that they've produced, but nothing super.
Yeah, nothing that's like super interesting to you. Okay, so then moving on to the writers. So top billed writer is Gil Keenan. Most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. He also, most recently, other than this movie and then that one, he wrote the movie A Boy Called Christmas from 2021. And then also Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, and he is most well known for, as a writer, most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. And he also wrote, most recently, The Front Runner from 2018. Any thoughts on those? Or are you familiar with A Boy Called Christmas?
No, but I was looking at the other ones that he did. He's done some good ones. Gil, he's done. Yeah.
Like Monster House. Poltergeist.
Yeah, those are some good movies. Yeah.
So I can tell you that A Boy Called Christmas is a good movie. I saw it. I mean, it's not like something super amazing, but it's like a good, good little movie. And I haven't heard, and then looking at Jason Reitman, his father is Ivan Reitman, who was the director of the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2. But I haven't seen The Front Runner. I did see Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was really good. So, That's another thing about Braun Studios, actually. I know that we were kind of ragging on them, but Ghostbusters Afterlife, I liked that movie. Did you? I mean, you liked it?
I did. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It was really good.
So then moving on to the director. So the director here is Gil Keenan. Now, as a writer, he's most well known for Ghostbusters Afterlife and A Boy Called Christmas. As a director, he's most well known for Monster House from 2006. He also directed A Boy Called Christmas, which is his most recent work other than this movie, in 2021. I liked Monster House. It was definitely a product of its time as far as the animation, so if you go back and watch it, you're going to look at it and go, maybe the animation could be better. But, I mean, it still, like, holds up. Like, you can definitely tell that it's aged, but it still is still okay, you know. And, yeah, I mean, I think that that's pretty good. It's interesting to me because he does do a lot of, I'm looking at his filmography, just flipping through it real quick, and a lot of the stuff is like teen, other than Poltergeist, it's like teen movies, you know, like A Boy Called Christmas is kind of like the teenaged, you know, it's not like a very serious adult quote unquote movie. City of Ember, Monster House, the Ghostbusters movies, you know, it's all kind of like family friendly, family oriented stuff. I don't know what City of Ember is, but it looks like a teen thing, you know. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's rated PG. So that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so we kind of already talked about him as a writer, so we can move on then to music. I guess actually before moving on, let me ask you, do you have any thoughts on the way that the movie, so just these two things, kind of like the writing in general, like either dialogue or
the writing, the dialogue,
like don't get into story, but just like the writing. How did you think? If you could give a general.
Yeah, it is very well developed. Like they did very well with it. I believe that too. Yeah. Yeah. I think that they did a good job at kind of expanding some of the world here for us. Instead of just telling us, like, so Ghostbusters 1 and 2, it was basically like they were saying to us, it's the real world that you're experiencing right now, but ghosts are real. Here, we still get that same idea, but it's like ghosts are real, and now we're going to kind of expand on maybe some of those rules, quote unquote, of ghosts, the lore of how ghosts work, history of some of this stuff, which was also in Ghostbusters Afterlife. They talked a little bit about the same kind of thing. So then the way that directed, I think that it was directed well. We'll get into some issues that I did have with this movie that I think do lower its score for me. Yeah. As we move forward, yeah. Okay, so then moving into music. So the music is by Dario Marianelli, most well known for Atonement from 2007, and then having most recently done, other than this movie, A Boy Called Christmas from 2021. Have you seen Atonement? I have not, no.
Okay, I haven't seen it either. I don't know about it. Keira Knightley was in it, so, and James McAvoy, so usually that means something, when you have some good actors and actresses in a film, but I haven't seen that one. What did you think of this movie's music? So I always so just a quick rundown, especially for the audience. The music is this important thing. We kind of all understand that it's important in movies and video games and everything, but I would say that there's basically two places where the music, three. I'll say that it's either really bad, where you watch it and you're like, I just don't feel like this movie, but that's so rare. Very rarely do I see like bad music. Okay. Yeah. Then there's where it kind of the middle, and the middle ground is the music was good, it was fine, I don't remember any of it, which is actually where like 95% of movies are. And then there's rare movies or series where it's like, let me ask you this question. Did you see Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Did you see Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Did you see Harry Potter?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know da-da-dum dum da-da-dum dum da-da-dum dum da-dum da-da-da-dum. Okay, what is that?
That's
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not asking you for the
Yeah,
or if I said bum bum ba da dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum da da dum dum da da dum. Do you know that?
That one I don't know.
Listen, if you guys know this, put it in the comment section below because it's the most famous franchise in the entire world and book series as well. Every bookstore in the world has about this much shelf space dedicated to Tolkien, and no one that I've met, no one that I've met, a bunch of people that I meet know the song, but every person that we've done interviewed or done reviews with, no one has been able to say, "Oh, that's Lord of the Rings." I would immediately recognize Lord of the Rings. Anyway, my point is that there's a couple series where it's like so great that you remember it and everybody can pick it out just from a few bars of the song. Okay, so is this movie the bad? Is it in the 95% where it's like, oh, it was good, I don't remember any of it? Or was it in the, oh, I really, really remember all of the music from this and it was so great? What did you think?
Definitely middle ground. Like, it was nothing memorable from it. No.
Okay. Which is not an insult to Dario Marianelli. It's just, that's what it is. So, anyway, yes. I thought that the music, this was kind of a letdown for me. And I was disappointed because the first and second movies have some musical pieces. Not like a score, not like music that was made for the movie, but just like I remember the Statue of Liberty, and they're what do 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 doom do doom do doom do do doom, and the Statue of Liberty is like walking, and you're like, yeah, you're getting into it. And this movie didn't have that type of music, so I was disappointed. The music was okay, but I was just disappointed that it didn't get there for me. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Definitely.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the production. What did you think of the production as a whole? Like watching the movie, did you think that it was made well? Was there anything that you really looked at and went like, oh, the CGI wasn't good or whatever?
No, I think it was made well. The CGI was great and everything. So yeah. I think it was made well.
Yeah, I think, Columbia, like I said, Columbia Pictures, Ghost Core. Bronze Studios makes movies that are good. Okay.
Yeah.
Like they're well made, but I haven't been so interested in them in the stories that they're telling is the good thing. So I love my awesome Support the Troops Stormtrooper mug. Do you know where you can get a mug just like this one, but different? Bottega Krua. Bottega Krua is an Italian born and raised artisan trained at the Academy of Fine Arts in Venice, Italy. Since 2010, Bottega Krua has offered unique handmade and hand-painted ceramics, pottery, and other artistic products. You can find these products at her Etsy store by following the link down below. She also takes custom orders, but they may take longer to ship because she has to make them after you order them. So, go check out Bottega Krua to get yourself an awesome mug just like this one or the ones you've been seeing behind me as this ad has been going on. Remember guys, supporting our partners is supporting the pack, the Action Pack. Okay. So then we can move on to plot. So, first of all, the movie's runtime is 1 hour and 55 minutes. And we're going to start off, as we always do, with the IMDb plot summary. There are 2 plot summaries on IMDb. I will read both, because one is kind of small and one is like a mid-size. So, when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. Ice age! Anyway, the Spengler family returns to where it all... This is the second one, okay? The Spengler family returns to where it all started, the iconic New York City firehouse, to team up with the original Ghostbusters, who've developed a top-secret lab to take busting ghosts to the next level. But when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second Ice Age. Ice Age! Okay, so... Yeah, I'm going to have to... Maybe in video editing, I'll have, like, Mr. Freeze come up from the bottom. Yeah. So, like... the reason that we read the plot summary is because basically this is what they want you to know. This is what they're advertising to you. Is this a good summary? Is there anything that's major that's left out where you go, oh, you should maybe know about this thing? Or is it good?
It was actually pretty to the point. Like it's right on it.
Any big things about the story that you want to point out or critique here for us specifically? Otherwise, I have some notes.
To me, I thought the storyline was great. It didn't really get off track, and it built up perfectly to the climax and the ending. Like, it was like everything, every detail that built up to it was very well done. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. So I actually agree. I agree. I'm gonna get into how I felt about certain things about the movie at the end of the review, but I will say that yes, the story, just the story, forgetting about other things about the movie, just the story I thought was good, and it was a good story to tell. Bringing them back to New York. They've left the house because the house that they were living in the middle of like North Dakota or something. Anyway, Montana, somehow. Yeah. Out west state. Let us know in the comment section down below if you guys remember. Some state out in the middle of nowhere with a low population, and it was Igor's house. Or Egon. I say Igor all the time, but it's Egon. I'm sorry. Yeah. Egon Spengler's house. And so now bringing them back to New York allows them to kind of play with a couple of different concepts and have them do a little bit more a few more things. Some of what I have written down here is mentioned at least partially in the little summary here, but just to let you guys kind of know what we're getting into here. So they mentioned, an ancient evil. There's an ancient evil containment orb, which is shown in the trailers, and you see people like touch it and interacting with it, and they know that something super powerful is inside. They don't know exactly what it is. The movie, through this though, it kind of moves on to the movie explaining possessed objects, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying they expand the lore. They talk about possessed objects and how those work, so that's something that's newly introduced to the Ghostbusters universe, at least sort of. Like, I know that that we've seen things in the other movies where it's like ghosts can pick up a chair, or something can have a connection to a ghost, but this like gets into it and explains some rules about it. Something cool that they talk about is kind of the history of ghost busting, not their organization, but just in history in general. There were people who fought demons and ghosts and paranormal stuff before them, and so they talk about an order of ancient Ghostbusters. Like ancient, they're not called Ghostbusters, just an ancient order that would fight paranormal stuff just kind of like they do. So that's cool. Yeah. We do have, which has been explored before in other movies, but we do have the kind of like the legal and the public perception issues. It's not super prevalent, but it is kind of in the back of your mind in the back of the film's mind. There you go. Where they talk about how, like, what are the legal implications, of fighting ghosts, property damage, like, do you have a permit to do this? Yeah. And they get into that, so that's cool. One thing that I will say is that the movie is a family movie, and I don't mean that it's necessarily like, oh, it's good for people of all ages. I mean, like, everything comes back to family. Like, if you follow any plot line, it all comes back to family. They have kind of the Paul Rudd's character and Carrie Coon character, Paul Rudd playing Gary Gruberson, Carrie Coon playing Callie Spengler. Their relationship and kind of the relationship with the kids, that is explored heavily here. And then they have this thing where basically they have a problem with the ghost containment unit, and that leads to Ernie Hudson's character... Winston, there you go. Winston. I have all these people listed as their actors. I don't have the characters' names listed, so you're gonna have to, you can help me through that.
I got them over here. IMDb right
here. Okay, so Winston, so the problem with the containment unit leads to Winston, which we'll get into his character here in a second and talk about him, but he has some creative solutions to dealing with such an issue and some new stuff, and Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say about the plot before we move on than what I've mentioned, or anything you want to kind of piggyback off of what I said?
Oh, we've covered it pretty well, I think.
All right, so then we can move on to characters and acting then. So, and I did say, actually, we did say this before. I will just one real quick capping off plot. I did say the plot was good. I just want to make that very clear. Like, I thought that the story was pretty good. We'll get into the other stuff in here in a second, but it was good.
Hi, it's Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is a military and veterans podcast and show about those who serve our country and those who have served and are doing amazing things.
You know what? Let's take more. And then they had that fantastic
managing those logistics and getting things where they need to be on time.
I mean, come on.
Want to learn more? Want to follow the show? Go to OscarMikeRadio.com or the link below. We're Oscar Mike, and we're mission in flight. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so then moving on to characters and acting. So, we have a lot of characters and a lot of actors, and I normally try to keep it to 5, unless it's absolutely necessary to add 1. I'll maybe go to 6, but now today we have 7, plus I've grouped the original cast into 1, so I'm not going to be doing my normal, this is the actor, this is what they're most well known for, I'm just going to run through these guys really quick, and then at the end we can kind of talk about them. Okay, so the original cast, and this is in order of screen presence, kind of how much screen time they have and how the effect on the story. So we have Dan Aykroyd, who plays Ray Stans, and he still works with the Ghostbusters. He's mostly in an advisory role, like they will bring him stuff and say like, hey, what do you think about this? What should we do? And he kind of advises them with his knowledge of ghost busting and the paranormal. He owns a paranormal shop and also has a YouTube channel where he interacts with objects that people bring him that they say are haunted. We have Ernie Hudson's character, Winston, and he's now rich, and he bankrolls the Ghostbusters. He pays for their new equipment and the maintenance of the firehouse and the Ecto-1, all of their stuff. He basically is the Tony Stark of the group, if you were to think of him like the Avengers or the Batman, for the Justice League. Yeah, so it's like Tony Stark for the Avengers, Batman for the Justice League, Winston for the Ghostbusters. So, and it never actually talks about how he made his money, I don't think, but it doesn't matter. It's never really brought up. He's just rich now. And yeah, so that's cool. All right, then we have William Atherton, who plays Walter Peck, and he is now the mayor. And I'm going to have to bleep this out, but I do just want to let you guys know that this man still
has no
so he has not learned from the ways of the other movies or the mistakes that happened, like any of this stuff. He has not learned the error of his ways from the other movies. He still fights the Ghostbusters all the time, and he kind of is the reason for the legal and public perception problems that we've talked about in the story there. Then we have Bill Murray, and he is like the least. He's not the least shown, but of the big 3, excuse me, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and then Bill Murray, because Egon Spengler's actor passed away. Of those 3 that are still remaining, like you would think that you would see him Peter Venkman's character come in. Yeah. You'd think you'd see him quite a bit. Because he was like the main character of the first 2, but he is like the least present here of the big 3. But basically, he comes in, and in this movie, he serves as the role as he does the paranormal test that's very famous from the first Ghostbusters movie, where he's sitting there and measuring a person's psychic abilities by shocking them and then asking them questions. So he's still entertaining, still a great actor, but he's not as present. And then we have Annie Potts, who plays Janine Melnitz, and she's the one that, if you remember from the original Ghostbusters movies, like, hello, this is the Ghostbusters. What is your, what are you calling about today? And she's like, almost like she hates her job, and she's a little bit aloof.
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Do you believe in the paranormal? And then I remember because Winston's like, I'll believe in whatever you want me to believe if there's a check involved. It's like, okay. I really love Winston's character because he just comes and he's like, I don't even really care about whether ghosts are real or whatever, but if you give me this thing and you say pull the trigger and aim it at the house, I'll whatever. I don't care. I need a job. So that's cool. Yeah, so I would say that all of the original actors, they came back, they did their jobs. They're very good actors. I mean, they really are. They are. Ernie Hudson. William Atherton is probably the one that's needing to do the most acting because he's got to emote and do certain things in here, and they all do a great job. So that's cool. So that is the original cast, and that are involved in this movie. Okay, so I know that this section is gonna be longer because I had to include the original cast, but I did just want to put them in there because they are a big part of the movie and they're important.
Yeah.
Even though they do take second place, in an appropriate way. Because we are doing basically a handoff. We're handing off to the new generation. Okay.
Yep.
So then getting into the real main characters here is Paul Rudd, who plays Gary Gruberson, most well known for Ant-Man from 2015, and also most recently having done What If, the Disney Plus series. He was in 2 episodes and it was from 2021 to 2023. Then we had Carrie Coon, who plays Callie Spengler, and she is most well known for Gone Girl from 2014, and also most recently did The Gilded Age, which is a series. She was in 17 episodes. The series went from 2022 to 2023, and I'm not sure. I haven't seen that series, but it says 2023. I'm not sure if it's still going and going to get another season this year. We have Finn Wolfhard. He plays Trevor Spengler. He is most well known for It from 2017, and most recently did Hell of a Summer in 2023. I saw It. I have not seen Hell of a Summer. I thought it. Yeah, I saw the first part of it. I thought was okay. I didn't like it as much because I did not like. We talked about this. I did not like the clown from It as much. Yeah. I did not like the clown character. I think it should be different. Anyway, then we have McKenna Grace, who plays Phoebe Spengler. She is most well known for Gifted from 2017, and most recently did Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie in 2023. She did a voice part. Then we also have Kumail Nanjiani, who plays Nadeem Razmati. He's most well known for The Big Sick from 2017, and most recently did Destroy All Neighbors in 2024. And last but not least, we have Emily Allen Lind, who plays Melody. She's most well known for Revenge, which was a series. She was in 18 episodes between 2011 and 2015. And then also most recently did Gossip Girl, which is a series that she was in 22 episodes of from 2021 to 2023. And again, that's another series that I don't watch, and I don't know if they're going to be getting another season in 2024. Okay, so those are the main characters, and kind of going down the list. Do you have anything that you want to mention right off the bat? If we start with Paul Rudd's character, Gary Gruberson.
Yeah, well, one thing that I did enjoy about him was how he moved up in the team with this movie. He moved into the lead role and leading the team and trying to be a stepfather too. So he did a phenomenal job in this movie, I think.
Yeah. So actually that's a good point, because, and I know that we've talked about this in trailer reactions and stuff, is that in the first movie, but in Ghostbusters Afterlife, it was Phoebe's character.
Yep.
And they actually deal with this in an interesting way like even now as I'm listening to as you say that, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they did it in an interesting way of how to get him kind of in the lead role. But basically, it's McKenna Grace's character Phoebe Spengler, and she is like the lead character because you're following the kids.
Yep.
But that wouldn't work. Like it wouldn't work that we're just going to be following kids. So we need to have the adults come in and kind of take over and lead, work alongside of the kids. And see, that's the thing too, is that it's not that we just, you guys are just kids, get out of here. He comes in and does this in a very balanced and good way. I'm talking about his character. And I think that the acting was also very good as well. Yeah. So that's really cool. And then the father figure thing, like, is he a father? Where do you stand? And that's something that, like, so I've only been married once, and I say that like that. I'm currently married and I've only been married once. So I don't know what it would be like to come into somebody else's home and have their kids, and it's like, do I act like a dad? Do I be their friend? What do I do? So, and I have kids as well, so I know how to be a father. I don't know how it would be to try to father someone else's kids. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing, though, is I do just want to point out when I talked about in the story, like, it all comes back to family, something that just a cool quote from him, and this is not an exact quote because I was trying to write it down real quick in the theater, but I kind of almost missed it, is he says at one point to another character, he says, family are the people who remind you of home. Yeah. And that's like almost the perfect kind of slogan for this movie, because I really feel like if you really think about it and really look at where everything's going all the time, it really all comes back to family. Every character's motivation in some way has to do with family, either their actual, like, brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters, sons, whatever, or the people that they love as a family, like the Ghostbusters. There are characters who are like, this is my family, like this is what I want to, like, for instance, Dan Aykroyd at one point somebody says to him, like, well, it's not like a spoiler, I'll tell you. Winston says to Dan Aykroyd's character, we're old, this is supposed to be our golden years. And Dan Aykroyd says, this is how I want to spend my golden years, Yep. And that's cool. That's awesome. And again, it comes back to family, and he loves the Ghostbusters, and he wants to do that. So I thought that was cool. And Paul Rudd really, like I said, bringing that home with the quote, family are people who remind you of home. And I think that he did a good job at balancing that. Especially, he's really good at being a character who's both serious and funny at the same time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and with the dry humor, kind of. But, yeah. Anything else you want to say about Gary Gruberson?
No.
Okay, cool. So then moving forward on to Carrie Coon, who plays Callie Spengler. So this is Egon Spengler's daughter. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have any notes for her.
I didn't either.
Her and Paul Rudd are together. Yeah. And...
she's trying to help him understand the dynamic of the family right now. Like, hey, I need you to help out with handling our kids a little bit. Not be their friend, be more of a parental role. Yeah. That was like her. That's about it for her.
Her big thing, and that's not, again, that's not like an insult to her. It's kind of like the music. It's like if you're a good actor in a movie and you're playing a non-lead role, people not having much to say about you is a good thing, because if you're a supporting actor and you do bad, people are going to have a lot to say about you. But if you do well, it's like you're really there to support. So everything people are going to say is about the lead. So I think that she did great. I do think that she did great. I didn't have anything really like stand out that I needed to say about her for the purposes of the review. Okay, so then we have Finn Wolfhard's character, Trevor Spengler, basically dealing with, he's an adult now, and that's like his whole thing with the movie. And also dealing with what's going on in the attic. So it's like these kids that we saw in the original movie Afterlife are growing up, and again, as we move forward, like if they and they've already said that they're talking about where they're going to move from here with the series of movies, if they're going to do more, they want to do more movies or maybe a show, or they said they want to do more movies. Okay. It would be cool to see the actor growing up and also the character growing up with the actor and taking more of a partnership role alongside of Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon as they fight ghosts. So that's cool. Anything you want to say about him specifically, though?
No, I got nothing for him either.
I will say he's a good actor. He was in. We mentioned it in Hell of a Summer, but he was in Stranger Things. So that's awesome. You know. Okay, so then we have probably the standout role for me when I talk about acting ability is Phoebe Spengler, played by McKenna Grace. Now I'm gonna look her up real quick because I don't remember exactly her age, but she's 17 now, but in Ghostbusters Afterlife, that was a couple of years ago now.
2020.
Yeah, so she was 14 years old when she did that movie. So she is like the standout as far as like, wow, she's really young, and she did a really good job with her acting. And you know, I'm not saying that they didn't have some like really big emotional, like seriously awesome acting feat for her to pull off in this movie, but just the fact that she does as well as she does at her age in that movie, and then, you know, now she's 17, so even here it's like, wow, she can still hold her own with big actors. Like Bill Murray, you know, and all them. So but basically the big thing with her is that she's told by the mayor that basically the mayor says like, look, you have this girl. You've seen it in the trailer. She gets in that chair and like hangs out of the Ecto one and is shooting the ghosts. And they're like, look, you can't have anyone under 18 handling nuclear weaponry, basically, because that's what the proton packs are. So you have to be an adult. So she's told she can't be a Ghostbuster, and that's like her big arc here is, I want to be a Ghostbuster. And I'm the brains behind the operation. This whole thing started because of me, but now I get told I can't do it, so she gets sidelined. There's also this thing where she meets this ghost girl, who we're going to talk about, but her name is Melanie, and she befriends her during a moment of sadness because she can't be a Ghostbuster, so she goes to the park. They do the scene where she goes to the park and they start playing chess, and then you see that it's revealed that she's playing chess with a ghost, this ghost girl. They do well. Oh, I know. Okay, this is the one thing that we talked about before we started this review. Tommy, take it away. Tell us your thoughts about the McKenna Grace and Phoebe Spengler character.
I really did not like the love duo. Like, I feel that they were starting to fall in love with each other, and I just think that they could have done. So I know the ghost had a role to do in this, so it was important that the ghost was able to get attached to this family. But I just wish they could have done it a different way. Like, Phoebe's too young, and I really didn't care for it. Like, it was just awkward. Like, it just felt so awkward to me. Like, why are we doing it this way? Like, can't we do it some other way? But yeah, no, they went down this road.
So I will say, and I agree with you. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. They don't have a romance explicitly, but it's like kind of alluded to, which makes me think that probably at some point somebody said, hey, maybe we don't do that. Or, you know, like, it seems like they were trying to make that a thing. Phoebe, so McKenna Grace is 17, but Phoebe Spengler...
21. Oh, Phoebe? Yeah.
Phoebe Spengler is only 15.
Yeah.
So why? First of all, two things. We don't need to go there. We don't.
Yeah.
With teenagers, what is with Hollywood? And it's this cute looking teenager, you know, so we'll have a 25-year-old play a teenager, and then we'll have the 25-year-old. It'll be legal for the 25-year-old to get naked on screen and have sex, and we'll get into their relationships, and it's like, that's just not appropriate. It's just not.
And she also alluded to what's it like being a ghost. Like, maybe I want to be a ghost and see what it's really like. Like, that's not a good path to be going down either. Come on.
Right, and actually, and again, all of these feelings. Well, yeah. So we won't get. We don't want to reveal anything to be like spoilers, but yeah. So I agree. I think that it was. I actually wrote it down in my. I wrote it down in my miscellaneous section, but I'll say it here as well. I think that the romance that it alluded to was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it would have been inappropriate. Oh no, I put it under the Emily. Yeah, I under the other character. I put that. Yeah, I think that the romantic angle would have been unnecessary and inappropriate. They didn't really include it, but they still alluded to it, which was still like the reason that I had a problem with it. The way that it is, where it's not included, that they have some kind of actual explicit romance, is, and when I say explicit, I don't mean like sexually explicit, I just mean like they don't say that they care for each other in that way, is that they don't do anything, they don't show anything leading up to them being romantically a thing. Like they spend one night being friends, like there's, and I say night, but it's just like she takes a walk in the park, meets this person. It is a ghost, but meets them, is friendly. The next time we see them, they have a friendly little chat, and then the next time we see them, maybe we loved each other. What?
Yeah. Like,
come
on.
It's like, where did that come from? That didn't develop naturally or anything. So they could have at least, first of all, if they were going to do it, they should have developed that better. Second of all, they shouldn't have done it. Like, it should have never been in the script. So, and I think that it probably was. But at some point, somebody just said, maybe we don't have time. Maybe it's inappropriate, so we'll cut that part out. So, okay, so then Kumail. Okay, so anything else you want to say, though? Otherwise, I'm going to move forward then. So, Kumail Nanjiani's character, Nadim Razmati. No spoilers here. He's a new character. He's kind of a basically my notes are he's a lazy loser with no ambition, kind of serves as a more comedy relief, like what do you call comedy that is not dry humor?
Just
wet humor, like I don't know, he's more of the traditional comedic character, but there is some more to him, and we won't spoil it for you, but there's a little bit more there, and they explore his character more. Is there anything else that you want to say? No spoilers, but
like he I do feel like he was a good addition to the comedy lineup, really, for this. So, like he did bring something to this, and it was fun. It was enjoyable to have him in this, so I liked it.
And I appreciated that they use his character to expand some things with the lore of the Ghostbusters, and it was a good. I did like this. I thought this was nice. Okay, so then moving on to our final character we're going to mention here is Emily Allen Lynn's character Melody. Now Melody is the ghost girl. She becomes friends with Phoebe. So in the movie, where her character is going to develop. Like, there's characters that you usually see and you go immediately, you're like, oh, that's going to be the hero in the end. That's going to be the big, it's going to turn out that that's the super villain. Oh, it's going to be that, I watched all of the Star Wars movies in the order that they came out, because before I was young enough that the sequels had not, or the prequels had not come out yet. So I had already seen the Emperor and all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
It never explicitly says who the Emperor is. And when I was a kid and I started getting older, and then the prequels came out, you meet Senator Palpatine. And I don't remember, at that time, the connection never, so there was no, I did not already know. But immediately I saw that guy.
Come on,
it's the same actor.
That explains it. Yep.
It's the same actor, but it's like at the end of this first movie, I was like, "That's Emperor Palpatine, isn't it? That's the guy that becomes Emperor Palpatine." Because at the end of the first movie, he says, "We'll be keeping a close eye on you," and I'm like, "You're a conniving, manipulative little guy, aren't you? You're going to become the Emperor. You're the evil guy behind this whole thing, aren't you?" Yeah. So immediately, okay, so her character, it's not like that. You meet her and you're just thinking, oh, I don't know where this is going to go. This will be interesting. So her motivations are not immediately clear. And they also have this little subplot with her where it's like, if she's a normal girl. Like, she doesn't turn into some monster. She's not haunting some place and doing some bad stuff. Then why hasn't she moved on to the afterlife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and we already talked about, like I said, the romance with a 15-year-old girl. That never, just forget about that. That I'm glad they didn't include that. So what, I mean, that's what I have. Any other characters that you just want to maybe real quickly mention, and then anything that you want to say about the acting in general?
Gotta do a shout out for old Patton Oswalt for Dr. Hubert. he was priceless in this too. Coming up with the lore on the background of the sphere and all that stuff. And he's a great all around comedian. So it was fun to have him in that too.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt, he expanding the lore again, giving us a little bit more backstory on some of the things going on, in a cool way too. They do some cool stuff in this movie.
Oh yeah,
they do some really cool stuff in this movie that we're not going to spoil, but man, it's really cool.
It is.
My name is Stephen Russell. My co-writer, Joseph Miles Pittman, and I would like you to imagine a graphic narrative that disrupts the superhero genre's conventional boundaries. Tales of Nihilism unfolds a thought-provoking anthology with diverse story formats from succinct comic strips to multi-saga issues. But at its core, the Ballad of Philip Kirshner explores existential challenges of an ordinary man in a world inundated with superheroes. The anthology challenges prevailing hero worship narratives, diving deep into societal introspection. We invite readers to confront uncomfortable truths about our culture's obsession with saviors and question the prevailing societal structures. The series is not just a comic, but an invitation to contemplate, challenging readers to reassess their perspectives on heroism and societal norms. It's an opportunity to offer audiences a fresh, introspective take on the superhero universe, sparking conversations, reflections on the human condition. You can find the series digitally on Global Comics, or follow the links below to get your own physical issue.
Okay, so then moving on into the miscellaneous section. So, we get some good action. Well, so first of all, I'll say this point, but then after because I've already started, after this I was going to ask you, like, if you had any points. But I will say we get some good action for this type of film. You see it in the trailers, but they have the Ecto-1 chase.
Yeah.
With the ghost, and then there's where they fight the ghost dragon. They have a pretty fun climax with the battling the enemies. There's a couple of little things that happen in between as well that are just some fun action parts that were pretty cool. So I gotta give it. I did like that. Before moving on with any more of my points, any points that you just right away or want to go, hey, I want to mention this.
The old cast to the new. I was the handoff. We mentioned it a little bit ago, like. The handoff went very well, I feel, with the old cast to the new cast. Like, the old cast didn't really overshadow the new cast. They did a great handoff. New cast is taking over. They're going to be the new Ghostbusters. I really, really did appreciate the way the writers and actors did on doing that.
Yeah, I will say, and I'll talk about it a little bit more a little later here when we get into our final statement and stuff as far as that. But I will just say, like, you had 2016, which literally just kind of took a crap on the old cast. And people were upset with the way the Venkman... Well, Venkman, it wasn't Venkman, but it was the actors. They brought in the actors from... They didn't even play the same characters. They brought in the actors from the old movies. And they just didn't honor the parts that they played. 2016
was just, I feel like it was just a comedy relief. Like, it was just so freaking hilarious. And with the old actors in there throwing their little tidbits in it, added to the flavor.
Note to self, never ask Tommy about comedy and what he thinks is funny. Okay.
Whatever. I really liked it. I thought they were hilarious.
Okay. I thought that, I thought that the situation was funny to laugh at because of how bad the movie was.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What would have been funny is if there was a ghost of that movie in this movie that they could then trap and be like, well, or in Afterlife. Afterlife would have been good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just kidding. Because that movie is dead in cultural zeitgeist. Anyway. Okay. Anything else that you? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So the handoff is nice. I think it'll be cool to see moving forward how like they really honor the old cast, but at the same time, it's not like they're getting rid of them either. They're still there. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like it's like how in the MCU we have all these characters that are dying off, and it's like, why are you killing them off? Why didn't Iron Man? I mean, it's okay. Spoiler alert: Iron Man dies. It's okay that he dies. And it's okay that any particular character dies, but to have characters, to be killing off characters just so we can say we're done with those characters now, it's kind of dumb. If Iron Man would have retired or have been a background character the whole time, then when you needed Iron Man, and you could say, how about we pull out Iron Man one last time? How about we do, you could do that. So now with these characters moving forward, 10 years from now, we can have Dan Aykroyd be he's an older guy now, but we could have Dan Aykroyd be like a very old man, and he still plays an advisory role. He's still somebody that they come to, and maybe there's something going on, and they say, what are we going to do about this? We don't know how to deal with this. And they say, I know someone who might be able to tell us what to do.
Yep.
So that's nice. Yep. And you're honoring the characters. That's the thing. So I appreciate that. Anything else you wanted to miscellaneous?
No, that was perfect. Definitely.
Okay. I do want to mention the upgraded tech. It's always cool to come back to series like this and see what new gear they have. We have the flying drone for the Ecto 1, and I think they might have shown it in the trailer. But so in Afterlife, they had a drone, like a car that drives in the RC car, and it opens up the trap, and then it gets so they can actually drive a little RC car. In this one, it's really cool because they have a flying drone, and it can fly up to ghosts and capture them. They do get some new proton packs, which are upgraded and a little bit more powerful, so that's nice. Is there anything else that they get?
Well, Phoebe upgraded her specifically for that specific ghost that she was getting ready to fight. So other than that, no, that's pretty much majority of them.
I do want to mention...
and that phaser thing, too, where you can phase...
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so there is this thing where they have the ability to put stuff against a glass wall, like a wall, and we'll get into it here in a second because I have it marked down, but they're able to stop ghosts from going through a wall, and they can basically have a barrier, and they do it with a glass wall so they can look at it and see the ghost on the other side. Almost like we'll get into it, but so I'll talk about it. But so they have some cool stuff. Real quick, before we get into that, I do want to say Slimer's here. What you guys don't know, what a lot of people don't realize is Slimer's so popular because he was in the cartoon. And there was a Ghostbusters cartoon where Slimer was a team member of the Ghostbusters and helped them. So Slimer being in the movies has been a big staple. He's in all the movies. He's even in the 2016 movie.
Yes, he is, with the girlfriend.
Yeah, but he left pretty quick, too.
Well,
That was his sentiment about this movie. He was like, hey, guys, I'm out. And he left. Okay. So that's cool. So then just getting into what I was just talking about. So they have a new paranormal research facility, a new research center. It's called the Paranormal Research Center. Yeah, so this was my thing, is that if you've ever seen the movie 13 Ghosts, or there's a couple other movies where they are able to trap ghosts in basically a prison cell. So this is like a ghost zoo where they research ghosts here, and it'll be a glass wall, and they put these things where they have this proton whatever, and it contains the ghost, and they can look at the ghost. So the ghost is floating around, and they look at it, and it's all cool. So that's cool. They also, inside of this facility, they collect possessed items. We kind of talked about how there's this orb that is holding this evil entity, and they explain what possessed items are and how that works, and I won't spoil it for you or get into it too much because of spoilers, but they also have a machine that does play a big role in the movie, where they basically are able to temporarily make someone a ghost. And it's also it's basically like it's like how they it's how
that wasn't the point of it. That wasn't the point of it. The point of it was to take objects put in there that's possessed to remove the possessed stuff out. That was the point of it. But it does have a side effect of
they say and I will say they say in the movie like, oh, we haven't tested it for that, but it could theoretically work, and that plays a role later on in the movie. So okay, and then so I have 3 more points. These will be real quick though. So one thing is we already kind of talked about honoring the past. The old team and the new team working together. This is how I want to spend my golden years. One thing that I do, and another thing that kind of brings it back to family, is that in the end of the movie they have a little sign, a little thing that says. So in Afterlife they had one that said, one second, Egon Spengler. What was Egon Spengler's actor? What was the actor's name? Harold Ramis. Yeah. Harold. So at the end of that one they said like for Harold. Because Harold Ramis had died and he was never able to make Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
So they really honored him in Ghostbusters Afterlife. And then in this one at the end, it says for Ivan. And Ivan Reitman was the guy who directed the original 2 movies. He also produced Ghostbusters. He also produced Ghostbusters Afterlife. And his son was the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Jason Reitman, and so
he wasn't a director; he was a writer. But I feel
that's right, a writer and a producer. Excuse me. Yeah. So they did it together though. So Ivan Reitman and his son, Ivan Reitman and his son Jason Reitman worked on Ghostbusters Afterlife. You're right. My apologies. So they say for Ivan, And that's really cool. That's really cool to be able to be part of something that is not necessarily your, family, but it is your family. This is my family. I'm Ivan Reitman, and I'm part of the Ghostbusters team. And he died, and they should have. It would have been cool to have him do like a cameo as a ghost. But I don't know. They couldn't have planned for it. But if there was ever anything with him on camera, they could have just even done like a thing of him as a ghost in the background, floating or something. That would have been cool. But whatever. So the other thing is that this is dry humor. This is my kind of my last point here. Dry humor. Yeah. So it's more of a subdued. I think English people have a big thing. Like most English humor is dry humor, and I appreciate that. It's a little less Ghostbusters than some people are going to be ready for. Like Ghostbusters is a little bit more over the top humor than dry humor. But this is a lot of dry humor, and I still like it. I appreciate it. So just be ready for that. This is a movie that takes itself a little bit more seriously than the ones in the past. And it's still a comedy, but it's just dry humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No. Yeah. That's.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last thing is, we talk about the post-credit scenes. There's one mid-credit scene, which leads up to, which is, according to producers and stuff, is going to lead into more movies. So, one post-credit scene. So, did you see the post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene? Excuse me.
I did, but I was trying to remember what it was now. I did watch it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. Well, then forget you. Just forget about it. But I think it was good. I think they did a good job with it. It's kind of an interesting thing.
I felt like it was a good thing, but blank.
That's
what
right.
It was.
You're worse than other Mike. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah. So, all right then. So that finishes up the miscellaneous section for us, and we can move on to our final statement and review score. So. I like to have the guest start, so if you would start for us. So if you could name us a few sustains, a few improves, give us your final statement, and then give us your review score. Just a second before you get started, for our audience and for you as well, our reviews use the 5-tiered system. So we have 5 tiers: bad, below average, average, above average, and excellent. Excellent is like world-changing. You're never going to think about cinema the same way. This is a movie you're going to return to all the time, stuff like that. And then bad is like, this is just has absolutely no filmmaking merit. And then we also have the reverse scale, which is like when a movie is so bad and so without merit that it can be like funny or interesting, and then it's still bad, but it's like The Room would be a good example of how that movie is just so terrible. Have you seen The Room?
Who's in that?
Nobody that you know. Tommy Wiseau.
No, yeah,
okay,
no.
You'd know if you saw it. You're missing out. You need to see it. So anyway, go ahead. Give us some sustains. Start if you'll start with sustains, and then go on to improves, and then.
So pretty much everything that, like we've already talked about. I enjoyed the storyline. It was great. Didn't get off topic. The writing was really great on it.
So that's one for sustain.
That's one for sustain. The old coming in and not actually the old cast allowing the new cast to take the main lead roles of the team and not overshadowing them, just being in an advisory role and maybe helping towards the end. Obviously, they did a phenomenal job with that. Paul moving into the lead role and also leading the team, did a phenomenal job. Great. Yeah, they all around it was so that's all my sustains. Then my improves was the love duo. That was like, it was just so awkward. So awkward. I did not like it at all. It felt so weird. Yeah. That's the only sustain I had for that. Or improve I had. Overall, I would say it was above average. I really, really enjoyed the movie. It was an above average movie.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So then I'll move on with mine. So above average for Tommy Boy, and then I'll move on with mine here. So my sustain. So first sustain is that this is a family-focused story. Again, not saying that it's a family-friendly movie necessarily. I mean, it is. For the most part, they say some. I think there's like they don't say a swear word. They don't say the F word, but they say like a swear word, and they, whatever. Yeah. But it's still like I would say like teens, like PG-13. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so but it's family focused in that everything comes back around to family. The every character's motivations by the end of the movie, it's gonna be revealed. Like, I act this way because family. This is like. Yeah. Vin Diesel should have been in this movie.
Or at least Ghost.
Yeah. And I liked it because it gives each of the characters depth. It makes their motivations make sense, and we can relate to it because it's like, I love my family, so of course I would want to do a thing related to family given in that situation. Yes. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it, but yes, it all comes back around to family. So that's cool to see, which is something actually kind of rare, because most of the time in movies now, every character is like their family was messed up, or they were abused as a kid, or they were abandoned. And this is like, nope, we are a family here. Even the extended family of people who aren't actually, blood relatives or even married relatives, like the Ghostbusters are a family. The other thing is kind of similar to like what you were saying, but honoring the past. So that's my second sustain. Basically, we have these characters come in and they're not shown to be like these old, incompetent people who need to be replaced by these new, young people with better ideas or whatever. No, these are like, Dan Aykroyd's character. He is like an expert. That even the smarter, like Phoebe plays the smart one. Even she goes to him and says, like, I don't know how to do this. Could you explain this to me? Could you teach me a thing? And that's cool to see. It's cool to see that these characters are shown to be, like I said, even if they're in a support role now, they're honored. And then on the flip side of that is my next sustain, which is moving forward with new things. We have new characters coming in. We have new technology being developed. We have a new facility. They're not going to stay at the firehouse. I don't think that it's that they're not going to stay at the firehouse in the future, but it's just that the firehouse is going to be like their field station where they roll out to do missions or to bust ghosts. But then they have this other facility where they have their ghost prison now, their big facility where they can study ghosts. And that's awesome to see. New stuff, expansion of the lore, expansion of the history, and that's pretty cool. And then for the improves, my biggest improve is that there was no Statue of Liberty moment. There was no epic, over the top, the cool music kicks in and you're like, yeah, go. Because so in the first movie, you see them, they take off their proton packs and they're walking. And it's like, and the music is playing and you're like, yes, the Ghostbusters. And it's like, something strange in the neighborhood. And all the people are like giving them high fives and they're like, yeah, Ghostbusters. New York loves the Ghostbusters. Yeah. And you're like, yes, Ghostbusters. In the second movie, they had the speaker and they said like, hey, we need you to sing and we need to show some New York love or something. I don't remember exactly what they say, but then the music starts do 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 doom do doom do do doom do do doom, and the Statue of Liberty stands up and starts walking, and what's his Venkman, Bill Murray's character is like, come on New York, and all the people are Ghostbusters, and Statue of Liberty is just going through town. Yes, and I was like, the action of the movie was rising, and then it just never went over the top. But I just wanted something a little over the top. Yeah. We didn't quite get it. That's okay. And then another improve that I think would be smaller, I would consider it a smaller improve, would be, it'd be nice for there to be maybe a little less dry humor and more traditional, like just them being goofy and joking and some of the over-the-top character moments. Venkman comes in and acts a little bit goofy and stuff, but I would have liked more of that. So, having said all of that, those are my 2 improves. I only had 2 improves. Having said all that, I gotta say, guys, I don't think it was excellent, but I think that it was above average. This was solid. Was it great? No. I don't think that it was as good as Ghostbusters Afterlife, but it's like a solid second entry. And it's one of those things where it's like the first one is great. The second one maybe takes a little bit of a dip, or not even necessarily a dip in quality, but just it doesn't quite have the pizzazz of the first. Yeah. And then the third one comes back with a vengeance. We've seen it. We've seen trilogies. We've seen series of movies now, especially like with the MCU being this big, long over the Alien series or the Predators or just different stuff. In movies, while the quality can kind of stay at the same kind of level, it just kind of wiggles a little bit up and down. And I think this is just a little bit of a dip in that. So above average, definitely recommend going and seeing it. If you're watching this review and you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. But yeah, so that's what we've got today, guys. Make sure, so right now we are recording this on April 1st. And don't be an April Fool. Go see the movie. No. Also, don't be an April Fool. Go sign up for the $500 cash giveaway. We're going to be doing the drawing on the 15th of April. So go check that out. If you win, I will give you $500. It is real. I will do it. Yes, I will give you $500.
I won. I think I was one of your first winners whenever you started doing all this. So yeah, he gives you money.
Yeah. So Tommy Boy wasn't really involved in the YouTube channel at the time.
Oh no! Was it me or was it my wife? Yeah, it was my wife at the time that actually got the.
That's right. Okay. So and so you guys weren't involved. Yeah. And then won the money, and then afterwards you were like, oh, maybe I'll do a movie review with you. But yes, if you sign up, you will, and you win, you will get your money any way that you need me to. By the way, too, I can bring it to you, hand deliver. I can send it to you on PayPal. We've done a couple of different ways. 500 big ones. But all right, that's all we've got today, guys. I do want to thank you all for watching from the bottom of our hearts here at Mike's After Action Reviews. I want to say thank you one last time. God bless you all, and have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord, where you can voice chat with me while I live stream, and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.